Someone always playing corporation games. Who cares? They're always changing.
All right, where are we? We are on center stage, day 3, New England Food Show. Who is ready for this dynamic panel we have coming up? We have some of the greatest female leaders in the Massachusetts hospitality and restaurant industry. It is so exciting. My name is Steve Clark. I am the president and CEO of the Mass Restaurant Association, and we have a tremendous relationship with all of these hardworking women. They have come together, and the pandemic has really shown the power of collaboration. And this group here has really come together to share ideas and really advance the cause of women in hospitality. And we were proud to partner with Let's Talk Women in January. We had our first ever Women in Hospitality Conference with 200 women down at District Hall in South Boston, and for an incredible day. So we are very excited about today's panel. And without further ado, we have Kathi Turner, CFO, Turner Seafoods. We have Chef Karen Akunowicz, Fox and Knife and Bar Volpe. We have Nancy Cushman. No, we don't. We have Jen Ziskin. We have Nancy Matheson Burns from Dole and Bailey. And our chair of our board of directors, VP of Food and Beverage, Denise Herrera, will be our moderator. Thank you very much, ladies.
I need to see you. Oh, it's nice to see you. You want to look at me? I love it. I love it. I love it. So it's nice to have you all here today with us. So I just wanted to set the stage a little bit about Let's Talk Women, because this started as a national idea during the darkest time for the industry, and it focused on the collaboration of like-minded women in food service to build combined economic power. And I think that's such a very important piece that we talk about. It's an action-led movement by women business owners as peers. Their span reaches over 14 cities nationally. And there's, on a more local level, the Boston chapter has more than 50 members that are involved. And so when I first met Jen, we talked a lot about the forming of Let's Talk Women and kind of the why behind it. And she said to me, she found her village. And I really wanted Jen to share with the group, what does that mean when you said you found your village with Let's Talk Women?
So what I think is so special about Let's Talk Women is the fact that, first of all, it's not a membership, it's really a movement, and it's based on collaboration and building each other up. So the only criteria is to be a woman owner in food and beverage, and that's it. Like, we have chefs, we have a CEO of a butcher meat company, CFO of a restaurant, myself, restaurateur. And I think just having all these women who have that one component in common, it just creates this love and this collaboration and this feeling that you feel like you've found your people, you found your village. And we have once a month, we meet on Zoom and we kind of do deep dives into something that we want to talk about, but also we take a pulse to talk about things that are important to us, things that are happening. We've laughed, we've cried, we've done just about all of those things, but there's no judgment. And I think that's one of the most important things. So, I have a great family unit, and I've always felt like that was my village, but this has just expanded it to this network of women that is amazing.
That's awesome. And Karen, you and I were talking a lot about networking and how we network as a group and how you look at the opportunities with Let's Talk Women to network differently. Can you share your perspective on this and the benefits of the
Yeah, I mean, I think that networking, right, we say an event like this, we say a conference, we say whatever it is, and we say, oh, we're going to network, you're going to meet people, you're going to give out your cards, so on and so forth. But what networking is at the heart of it is saying, I know somebody that can help you with that. You're opening a restaurant, let me have you talk to Jen. You need a financial advisor, let me have you talk to Kathi. You can talk to Nancy, has been helping all of us for years and years and years and years. So it's not just the handshake, how do you want to go and get coffee? It's the actual real tangible things that are valuable. It's the time, it's the resources, it's financial information. And those are the things that, especially as women, not that I won't say they were withheld from us, but there are less of us. And we were certainly not in the room or at the table for many conversations for many years. So we created our own room and we created our own table. How many times do you ever see this many women sitting on a panel together? You don't. You would see 3 men, you would see 1 woman, maybe the moderator's a man or a woman. And so we're saying it does not have to look the way that you've seen it look forever. It can look very different, and we're taking the steps to make sure that that happens.
That's excellent. I love that. I love that. So Nancy, as Karen alluded to, you have been a women leader in the meat industry since the beginning. And so I'm sure you've had many doors to take down, and you've been powering through them all. And we love you for that. So I'd like to ask you your why on Let's Talk Women, because it's a different perspective that you shared with us that I thought was very unique and interesting.
Well, I think for me, it's about being intentional and creating support for these women, for the restaurateurs and the other food companies that are independently owned by women, and making yourself available to love on these people, to be vulnerable, to listen, to share and be generous with your resources, with your time and your talent and your treasure. And I can't tell you what a blessing all of you guys have been to me throughout this partnership, if that's what we're going to call it. But it's been great, and they're these incredible young women.
It's that loving, that piece that she offers to us that's so vital and important. I mean, pretty much any time you do a post on social media, you go away with your family, anything you do, she's our cheerleader, and just to get those hearts, it just is so meaningful.
But Nancy also puts her money where her mouth is. For many, many, many years, every festival that we did, when we were donating as restaurants, as chefs, we were donating all the product, we were donating the time, we were financially paying for all of those things ourselves. I will tell you, Dole and Bailey, Nancy herself is the person that was always the first to say, we will donate your meat, we will donate your protein, we will donate these things to help you be able to participate in this charitable function.
Yeah.
And she was one of the few for a very, very long time. So that's truly putting your money where your mouth is.
Very
Thank you.
true. Very
I think Kathi also keeps us straight as a CFO too, because often Nancy does jump in, or Rhonda, who's here from Boston Harbor Distillery, and say, oh, I'll help you, I'll donate product for your Let's Talk Women event. And we said, no, this is part of this collaboration is to build economic power for each other, and that includes Dole and Bailey. And I think that it's finally time that, yes, we love giving our time, but there's only so much we can give economically. It's time that we have to boost each other up economically too. And I think, Kathi, you set us straight. Like, we'll say, oh, a band wants to, they're willing to work and they want to do it, for free and come to our event. And Kathy's like, no, we're going to pay them to be at our event. And that's so true.
Yeah, and I do want to chat with you, Kathi, because our lives intertwine in a lot of different areas, different associations and such. And one piece that I always am very, very fond about Kathi is she's always offering advice, suggestions, experiences, and she's fighting for, how to make a certain platform better for everybody else. And so I just, you're always out there leading the charge, and you're sharing so much amazing knowledge with everybody. And so, as you come onto the Let's Talk Women stage, what motivates you and what drives you within this group?
Well, I'd say the first thing about Let's Talk Women was during the pandemic, most people didn't realize we all sat in our restaurants by ourselves and cried because no one knew what was going to happen. And when Let's Talk Women started, we really just cried together and said, you know what? I now feel like I'm no longer an island. And Let's Talk Women has actually not only created a village, it's actually opened a world up where I'm saying restaurants are not nonprofit businesses. It is okay for women to make money and be successful. And we should be on boards. And we should be the people that are out there fighting. Time is money. And so I feel like everything that I do, I want to share, because it's no good from my knowledge just to be in my head and help me. I feel like I learn so that I can share what I learned, because I love school and I love teaching. And
Well, and I you
And
know,
Let's Talk Women lets me do that.
and I love it. I see it. I see the communication within the group so frequently of people asking a question, who do you use for this? Or I need a lawyer, I need this, I need that, something happened, direct me. And the outpouring of information is just, it's so overwhelming, and it's there for everybody to have access to, which is amazing.
And women communicate differently.
No way.
It's really nice to have a forum where we can communicate in our own tangential way that you can't do often in what I'd say was the more corporate setting of the world, because we can finish each other's sentences and go on to the next topic and have just been far more efficient in our minds, whereas other forums you would find it irritating or disruptive or someone's interrupting. And so having this kind of group that's like economically supporting each other and emotionally supporting each other and everything, having this ability to be able to just talk, like you don't have to perform.
Yeah, no, it's very true. It's true.
Really special.
You know, Nancy, you talked a little bit about mentoring, and I think that this is also a great group for mentoring within each other, but also within your own businesses. And so, Nancy, can you share with us, you know, how you view mentorship within Let's Talk Women, and then within your own organization?
Well, like I said earlier, mentoring is so easy and everybody can do it. I mean, it's not something that you need to have a college degree to do, or you don't need to be the most outspoken person to do. You just need to make yourself available, be generous with your time and your talent and your resources, and look at what's going on around you. The most important gift we can give to our daughters and the next generation of women is for us to be out there and to show up and be available when called to do something, and show our leadership by serving and loving others around us. It's a joy, it's a blessing, and it's not difficult.
That's true. Karen, you mentioned your leadership team is primarily female-led. Can you share how you got to that level?
Yeah, our senior, between our two restaurants, our senior management team, our director of operations, both of our general managers, both of our chef de cuisines, our executive pastry chef, as well as our beverage director for the company, are all women. And I think that when we started in Open Fox and the Knife, we had an entirely all-female management team, and I think people were looking for something different. And what I always say, and what Christy Weiss, who's our director of operations, always said, is our responsibility, you come to work, our responsibility is to give you the information, to give you the knowledge, to work with you, to teach you, to train you, so that, I mean, we'd love if you stay with us forever, but we want you to move on to whatever you want to move on to. You should leave better than you walked in the door. You should leave with more knowledge. You should leave feeling like you can take the next job, the next step. You could open your own restaurant. You can do whatever it is, because we have invested that in you, and we talk constantly about ways to do that. We've turned our manager meetings into all manager meetings between both restaurants. And what we do is we talk about big picture things. We talk about financials. We talk about, you know, we talk about HR. We bring in people to teach people how to stretch and how to decompress. We're not doing saying, here's our to-do list. What's on everybody's list? Staffing, 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 and staffing. Am I right? But we're talking about big picture, and we're getting everybody to that next step. And I think that, you know, folks have really responded to that, and they want to be in that environment where they feel supported in so many ways.
I love how you also talked about health and wellness in your meetings, because that's so important, and we don't take enough time to actually address that. And that is an area that I do believe Let's Talk Women, you support each other in health and wellness as well. I mean, it's fantastic to see it happen. You also mentioned how you mentor these young adults, and then they move on, and you want them to move on, but you're always a resource to them. And I think that that's another phenomenal, you know, tool that we offer as we continue to develop people. So Kathi, as you know, you're a CFO, you're a restaurateur, you're a wholesaler, you're an operator. I don't know how you find time to do it all, but can you share with us your mentoring and your strategy on how to develop and keep people interested in the industry?
Well, I think first of all, I'm actually none of those things. No, I have a great team, and so happens that our team, many of them's last name is Turner. And so we have all worked together for many, many years, and the Turner family has a really healthy relationship. But I think one of the most important things in terms of building an organization is respecting people in their lanes. And especially as working as a family, we conquered who was doing what, and we respect their lanes. And when you do that, it allows you a lot more opportunity for other people to learn and grow within those lanes. So I think in terms of mentoring, it happens in our organization.
That's interesting. So I think that's also really important, the staying in the lanes and respect. It's a very, very, very important piece. So I want to talk about some of the electrifying events that Let's Talk Women have put on in Boston. So Jen, do you want to share with kind of the inaugural event that kicked everything off, that was the crescendo?
So I think what is so awesome about Boston, first of all, I have to do a huge shout out to the Mass Restaurant Association, because Rohini Day, who was our founder from Chicago, just reached out to the MRA and said, I'm kind of organizing this movement. I need women, female restaurateurs, women owners in food and beverage, and they were the ones that gave them the list that brought us all together. And it was that first partnership that the MRA has been so supportive to us throughout our journey, that we started in January, and then by March of, this is 2 years ago, we kicked off an event. It was a virtual panel, and it included us all of us, I believe, were there that first year. I can't remember, you were there the first year too. We all got together and we put together these to-go packages, and people would have a 4-course, 5-course meal from our restaurants with booze from Boston Harbor Distillery as well. And then we did a virtual panel that night. So we did that virtual event for 2 years, which was amazing. Huge following, and it all was to build economic power that we were starving for. We needed the money. I think each of us walked away from that event with $2,000 or $3,000, and that was all from sponsorship and the support of people out there in the MRA. This year we hosted our first in-person event that was electrifying, and we had a band, a female band there. We all had tasting tables, we had beverages. Huge support from the Horizon Beverage, huge support from, also from the MRA, Cisco nationally, that we were able to come together, throw this event, and build some economic power now as a group that we can put back into the group and be able to do more events together. And then I just have to talk about, lastly, our women's conference with Jen Almeida from the Education Foundation was also unbelievable. We led multiple panels that day. We kicked off the day with a panel of Let's Talk Women, and we're able from there have even gained different interns from that day and people working in our restaurants. So it was a great networking event.
That's awesome. And the first event that we did, that was the first time I actually met Karen.
Yeah.
It's just amazing that I probably would have never had my paths crossed with you, because we're busy individuals, and then we get in this room and we're putting together all these baskets, and it's like, oh, we have commonalities, we have similar things that we like. So, Kathi, I also want to talk to you about, what did you get out of these events? Because you were in there, you were definitely working hard on these events.
Well, I think one of the things is every restaurateur feels like every charity in the world thinks that they should just give away their food and time and energy, and we love our charities. But we all have different charities. And so it was really, really nice to work together for a purpose that was a good cause, but wasn't going to, especially during COVID, drain people's resources. And the coolest thing about this, and I do have to say, because Jen was so instrumental, we had 6 weeks to put this together, and we were the largest selling city in the country in 6 weeks, and they had been doing it for 2 months. So that was like so much fun and camaraderie for us to feel. And Morra Healy, when she was just still the Attorney General, she was the spokesperson there. So it was this way, and I gotta say what you're saying, I didn't know any of these women a year ago or 2 years ago. I didn't know anyone in the industry. We all worked as an island. And in our own little islands, we never thought we had enough time to go outside of our islands until we realized that working as kind of a collective village or city or anything else, we're all making each other better. And that's what's been really exciting about this. And it's a movement. It's not a club. It's not anything else. It's let's support each other, all being better and making our industry better as a whole, male, female, whatever. Happy to share information. We just talk differently.
Yeah. Karen, anything you'd like to add?
No, I mean, I remember that first event, that takeout event, and we were still so in the thick of it. And I got to meet new people. I also got to see so many friends, especially friends of mine that were chef owners, that we love each other and never get to see each other. And we all made the time and we all made the effort to come together for this event. And seeing each other, especially in that dark time, I think was incredibly powerful and incredibly uplifting. And it's amazing. We are always stronger when we come together and when we collaborate than we are alone.
Absolutely, absolutely. So as we look forward, is there anything that we can anticipate for the future of Let's Talk Women Boston events? What's percolating?
We definitely want to organize some sort of mentorship program. I mean, I always believe that everybody in this world should work in hospitality. And if there's a way that we can encourage people to join us and to increase our village, we're really hopeful for that. But I do think that we want to work with the Education Foundation at the MRA to try to foster that mentorship program.
That's great. So we mentioned that this was a women ownership restaurateur. So if you aren't an owner, how do you have access to some of this really, invaluable information? How does somebody that is sitting in the audience today, tap into somebody that's on the panel here?
Well, I think the forum that we had down at District Hall, the Women's in Hospitality,
Yes.
that was a great opportunity because there were high school kids, there were college kids, there were restaurateurs, and every single person that was on any of those panels that was there is like, listen, reach out to me, call me. We're happy to do that. You're looking for this kind of position, I know that. So I really think, and I wouldn't call that, it was an educational event, but that is an easy way to do it. Otherwise, it kind of gets a little clunky.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but so I really want the audience to understand that there are other conferences that will have access to some of the leadership that's up here, and I think that's really important for you to understand because it's not a closed group. There will be opportunity for you to chat, discuss at some of these women's leadership conferences. Jen, and we have another one scheduled for next year? It's on the horizon, so mark your calendars for January 2024. So I also just wanted to ask you, how do you find time to fit it all in, okay? Because you're up here, you're doing this, you all have your businesses that you're running, you're also doing things on a monthly basis with Let's Talk Women Group, you're also very, involved in other groups and associations, so how do you balance your time, Karen? As you checked your suitcase before you.
My time. I don't think I balance it. I think actually one of the best things when folks talk a lot about work-life balance, I think that's a really nice idea. I had to start looking at my life as a whole and not as a scale, right? Because everything is important and everything matters. So when I'm making choices about what to participate in and what not to participate in, I have to really say, what are the things I get to do, not the things I have to do, and to make those choices. What are the organizations that mean a great deal to me, that I get to work with, like Let's Talk Women, and what are the charities, right? We all have our charities. So saying, okay, it is a Love and Spoonfuls event, it's a No Kid Hungry event, it's an LGBTQIA event. Those are the things that are important to me, so you make those decisions. The other way you make them is to be honest in talking about women making money and get paid is it an event that I'm getting paid for? Are you valuing my time? Or is it something I feel strongly about? And I think that we can't, as women, we have a tendency, I won't say everyone, some of us, we have a tendency to overcommit, to say yes, we want to help, we want to give, but I think you need to look at and say, how is this valuable to me, or how is it valuable to somebody else or another organization that I care about? I mean, like you said, I'm leaving from here, I'm on a train to New York, I'm back from New York the next day, I'm in Detroit the next day, and then I'm at the restaurant the next day. But all of those things were valuable and important to me,
Right.
so I make them happen.
And you chose to do them, which is awesome, and that's a great way to look at that. Jen?
I think for me, I always say I work 24/7, but I make my own schedule, so I can pick and choose. We opened La Morra 20 years ago. My youngest son was 5 weeks old when we opened, so I have one of my kids here today, and it's always been that balance and making sure you're there for your children and for your family, but you also need to be there for your business and for your restaurants. And you do have to find that balance. I chose to have some of them work at the restaurants, or the little one would come with me to the restaurant. I'm sure your daughter is there
yes.
on the line with you some nights, or hopefully not on the line. But it is always a struggle, and I think when I was, a younger mother and my kids were little, I always wanted to be home, and when I was home, I wanted to be at work. It was like you just felt like you needed to be in one or the other places. You never felt like you were doing enough, and I think now I feel like I have a little bit more time to do things, spend time with family, and to really create that, I guess it's not necessarily a work-life balance, but bringing my life and surrounding it with, people I love working with, and then spending time with my family as well.
It's great.
Well, and I think a lot of it is trusting your team. And that's really, really hard for a micromanager like me. But that's one of the things that, as I've gotten older in this, no one can do it all. And you've got to trust your team, and you've got to trust your team to make mistakes and be okay with that and to learn from that. And so a lot of being able to control my time is respecting other people and trusting them for what you're giving them the opportunities to do or what they contribute to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's such a very, very important point too, because if people don't make a mistake, they're never going to learn. So you have to know that that's okay to allow that to happen. Nancy?
Well, I look at my life as like a ledger sheet. Like you say, it's a huge circle. It's not scales. And so there's 168 hours in a week. What am I doing with that that's meaningful and purposeful to me? And when you get to a certain age, you can delegate to a wonderful team that you have, and I have the best team at Dole & Bailey. I can't even tell you. And it's not easy for them, and they do make mistakes. I make mistakes with them, but they're amazing, and they're solution-oriented people, fantastic. But I think people in the hospitality industry, as an independent-owned hospitality, independent-owned restaurant or business like my own, you have so many responsibilities, but you are in control of your time. And so where is the meaning and the purpose, and make sure that you're doing it. But it's a struggle for all of us, because I think this industry kind of breeds, work, and that's part of our bent. We like that, and we like to be active, and we like to do all these things. So it's something that has to be managed in self.
Yeah, no, it's very true. And so I'm hearing that it's okay to say no.
Yeah, it is.
It's okay to say no, and I think that's really important.
I need
for everybody
to try that word
understand.
more.
And Denise, you should be answering this
Right.
question.
Sometimes I do ask myself that question.
And one of the Let's Talk women, I think it was Nancy, was it Nancy from the Cape? I can't remember. She said, I got into my vocabulary to say, oh, I'm sorry, that's not going to be possible.
Oh, it's not possible. That was the best
Not
thing I've
possible.
learned
We're all
from
like,
this
you
group.
can say
Yes.
that?
That was
And we're like,
Angela Rayner. And I was
Yes.
like, oh, that has been life-changing for me. It's not possible.
It's not possible, and it's so true. And I think Karen, what you said is it really resonates with me, because it's you get to do it. You don't have to do it. And I think as you continue to mature in your career and you are available to make these decisions, saying it's not possible or no, I can't fit that into my schedule is okay, and that you want to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I think that's also a really valuable piece that is a great takeaway. So I was going to open the floor to anybody in the audience that has a question. If there's any questions right now before we...
Right in the front.
We spoke a little bit about mentorship, and I think throughout my career, as you grow in your career, you get more confident, and mentorship becomes one of the most valuable pieces. Can any of you talk about your mentors, or who encouraged you to get where you are, and how they did that?
Well, I'll start. I had people that were willing to mentor me, and I never used it. And that's one of my biggest regrets, is I never I don't know if it was I didn't feel confident, or I was too confident or whatever, but I never took advantage of that opportunity. And I worked with unbelievable women that I didn't stay friends with. So my recommendation to you younger people in this is keep those connections, not just about you, but share with them what you're doing, where you're going. See, just kind of stay friends. And it's a really important thing, and I didn't do that, and I regret that.
I'd love to make a comment because I found my mentors 2 years ago at Let's Talk Women, and I'm sitting beside them, and I have to say, I had never had a mentor. I worked with my husband for the last 20 years, so we divide and conquer a lot, but I respect his business sense, and that has always been really helpful. But I have to say, I really found within this group, a group of mentors, people, whenever I have a question, whenever I need something, even Josh, my husband, will say, why don't you ask Let's Talk Women what we should do? And I do. So I think it is really important, and I think that's what's been, what Let's Talk Women has done for me.
That's great. Any additional?
Hi, ladies. We have a new generation of women coming up into the industry, and we're trying to encourage them in that this is a great industry. Do you have any advice for those young women, as successful women in the industry, on being a woman in the industry, or what they could do to be successful?
I'm going to just start here because I think one thing, and as generations have grown, I actually work with a group of college students who are just out of college going into work life for the first time. We need women to be comfortable to advocate for themselves. Men make money and they're seen as successful. In the past, women make money and they're seen as pushy or greedy or this or that. And I think it's really important for us as sort of aging and mentoring is to give women the confidence to advocate for yourself. Go in and say, this is what I'm providing to these businesses. This is what I do for you. This is what I think I value myself as. Let's come up with a game plan. Women are not good at naturally doing that, which is, I think, some of the reasons we kind of become our own bosses, because we're very good at bossing ourselves around and advocating for ourselves. But I bet you every single woman on this stage, we're probably underpaid. And we probably control our own wages. But it's but you know what I'm saying? But we don't advocate for ourselves, and I don't think we value ourselves in the same way. And I think it's really, really important for girls and young girls, women, next generation women to start seeing themselves as the asset. I always say in a business, you're an asset or a liability. You can't be both. You can't be neutral. You can't be some one time. See yourself as that asset and make yourself that asset and advocate for yourself.
And if you're interested in going into restaurants, work in a restaurant. Start when you're young. I think all through high school, I know I started when I was 15 working in restaurants, bussing tables, cocktail waitress, bartending, serving, hosting, managing, every aspect in the front of the house. I always wish I've worked in the back of the house because I can't even make oatmeal. I get made fun of. But I think that
you choose not to. That's not your job.
Okay.
It's Josh's job.
Right. But it is really important to have the experience and work in restaurant, work in whatever field you're interested in, and that's how you'll gain experience.
No, it's all very good points. I also think if you believe in yourself, you can do it. I used to say when I started the Burton's Grill concept, I was the first executive chef, and I really had no business building a restaurant group. And I would say to myself, I'm going to fake it until I make it. And I had a lot of confidence. I had a lot of confidence in myself. If I didn't know the answer, I was going to go and find it, and I wasn't going to fail. And I think that anybody that's growing up in this industry and you want to continue to persevere in it, believe in yourself, because you are the only person that's going to make that happen. And I tell my teams all this time, I still tell them, fake it until you make it. You guys are going to do it. Just go, go, go. And nobody knows but you. And that's really important as you keep going forward. Don't go backwards, and believe in yourself.
So I have a question. I have the microphone so I can ask a question. You are all highly successful multi-unit restaurant owners or running a massive company. How do you delegate to your teams to run the places where you're not in your vision when you're not able to be there? You can't be in 2 restaurants at a time. You can't be in 3 restaurants at one time. How do you step up and show your delegation to your team to run those operations in your vision when you're not there?
I'm going to say one thing first. Just the most important thing is they know their expectations.
Yeah.
If they don't know what you expect of them, they can't perform to your level. They've got to know your expectations.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I think my job, my most important job, is to be the North Star. So I have a very clear vision for my restaurants, for my brands, for my cookbook, for whatever it is. And I keep us on that path. Everything is related to that direction that we want to go in. What are our mission statements? What are our purpose? How do they differ between restaurants? How are they the same? And my job is to keep everyone focused on the path we're going on. Okay, I have this great idea. Awesome. Does that line up with what our North Star is? What are we here for? What is our purpose? What is the hospitality that we provide? What is the food that we provide? And my job is to keep everybody going on that path. And like somebody said earlier, yes, everybody is going to make mistakes. But then we're having a conversation about that. We're saying, how can we do that better next time? Because if you don't have people that are on your team that want to see that vision, that not just believe in it, but say, yeah, I'm on board with this.
Yeah.
Then you're in your restaurant every single day from morning until night, and you never have the ability to do anything else.
You actually hit the nail right on the head about when somebody has an idea, does this align with what the vision is? And there's so many times that we don't check that, and as the leader, owner of the business, making sure that is in a line is so important that people don't go off the line. So that's a really, really very important point. I like that. Jen?
I just think having the check-ins is really important, having an open line of communication. I think it's really challenging. I'm still learning how to have 3 restaurants. I mean, the third is 2 years old, and it's a struggle. It is. I can't deny it. It's way harder than raising 3 boys, 3 restaurants. So I'm still learning. I'm learning from my mentors and from this village as well. But I do agree, and I think that makes total sense. You have to have this vision, and you have to have people align with your vision, hire great people, believe in them. And I think, I know people used to say to me, how does Lamora just run itself, like when we opened Heritage? And I would say, well, no. Actually, it has an incredible team there that it doesn't run itself. I wish, that would be great. But if one of those team members leave, then it is not running, and you can see it. If somebody takes the day off or 2 days off, it's a struggle. So I think you just have to align yourself with great people.
And for me, it's a little bit different because I'm 4th generation of a 155-year-old company. So the vision has been to maintain this independent food system in New England, and it's about as broad as that. So how do we do that and compete with these ginormous corporations that have billions and billions of dollars and stay alive and not get diluted and not get bought out? And by the grace of God, we've got a beautiful team, and being in my late 60s, I've started to pass on so much of that responsibility to qualified, talented people who share the same vision and want to protect the legacy. And it's an enormous task, I have to tell you, to remain viable and remain in some way, shape, and form profitable so that we can take care of these 100 families that work for us and create these opportunities for these beautiful young people that are coming along in this industry. So, yeah, it's not easy.
Excellent points. We talk a lot about trust but verify. So you have to trust your team, but then you also have to make sure that they're doing it the way that you want it.
And I will say one other thing that I've learned during the pandemic and since then is when I say no to expectations, let them know all your financials. And if you're making money, everyone should make more money. And I think that's really important, that they don't see owners separate from them and their future. And so
Involvement. You're
involving the team not only in the financials, but understanding them, why they work, why they don't work. And when you start making money, everyone makes more money. From your hostess to your dishwasher to everything. You need to be able and willing to share those profits for everyone that helps you get there.
Great.
the confidence. I'm a new business owner and in my 40s. And how do you, when you first started your businesses, how did you build your confidence? Like, I'm always second guessing what I'm doing, even though I get good feedback from my customers. There's always that little bit of self-doubt. How do you sort of navigate that as you're growing your business?
So I was told to get over it. I was told, you know, you got a good thing, you know, and part of that self-doubt is your own self-doubt. And we talked about us being our own worst enemies. Be proud, be like, I got this. And you will make mistakes, learn from those mistakes and keep moving forward. But if you're already being validated because people are buying your product, they're telling you it's great, they love it, go forward with that, embrace that and say, yeah, I got this, I'm going. Anybody else? No.
I know. It's never going to end.
Do it anyway.
It's just never going to
You
end.
always have to believe in yourself.
Yeah.
You do.
Do it with the voice in your head that tells you you can't. Try and turn that voice off. Do it anyway. Do it scared. Do it when it's hard. Do it anyway.
Yes.
And just keep moving forward and surround yourself with people that you can do a check with. Hey, I think I'm crazy. What do you think about this?
Yes.
And Denise says, no, actually, you're right on track. I'm like, okay, good, that makes sense.
Yep.
Surround yourself by people that you trust who might not actually be in your industry or in your company. Look outside of that. Everyone has that voice. Everyone has imposter syndrome, whether they say it or not. Do it anyway, do it scared.
Well, and I think there's this thing, you do the right thing for the right reason. And you know, you have that internal compass to say, you know, this is probably not the right reason. You know and trust your gut. I always say, if I know that we're going in the right direction, we're doing it, I don't care if it's hard, I don't care if people think I'm crazy, which they do a lot, but I know I'm doing the right thing for the right reason and I believe in it, it gets people to believe in it with you.
So we were just talking about this board of directors, your personal board of directors. So I bet every person on this stage has people that they call for different reasons. Is it, how am I feeling today? Does this financially make sense to you? Is this a wackadoodle idea? So you, as you continue to grow your business, you should continue to grow a board of directors that you have as resources to you that give you that gut check, that tell you you're on the right path. And it's not your best friend. It might be, you know, somebody that you've
Sometimes.
Sometimes it is.
Sometimes.
Sometimes it is. But it doesn't have to be. So it's outside of your inner circle at times.
Are you in food and beverage? Do you own
Home bakery.
home? Yeah.
Home bakery,
So
yeah.
you should, let's talk women.
Yeah.
We're here.
And you know what? I would reach out to your local chamber of commerce. They are incredible resources. You know, whether or not, like we're in Salem, Destination Salem, Discover Gloss, or your local chambers. I mean, those, and it really is next to nothing to do that. And you then get to meet like-minded business owners and other people who are struggling. There's so much, and then you get a diverse view of opinions.
Yeah.
And everyone has a local chamber.
Very true. So we're coming up on our 45 minutes, so I just wanted to get some closing remarks from each of you. So Kathi, I'll start with you and we'll work our way down.
I guess my closing remark will be that I am just so happy I have friends in the industry now and people that I didn't know, and I feel really honored to be able to hang out and call you all my village.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I would say for me, Let's Talk Women has allowed me to, of course, grow my village, to gain knowledge from other people and to give that back, right? Because mentorship is a two-way street, no matter how you look at it. But I would really encourage anyone who's sitting here, like Jen just said, anybody who's sitting here, are you a female owner of a business, to join us, come join our village.
Because I think that's what's really important. There's no membership fee to be part of our village. You just email one of us or give you our card and we put you on the list. And then we just ask that you join us every 3 months for a Zoom call. Other than that, there's really no other commitment. And it is all about just, you know, when you have something to share, great knowledge, you send it out to the email list. And you also, you know, if you have any questions, burning questions that you need to know, we're all here for you as well.
And I guess I would say being a proud woman-owned independent business, it's so important to the economy. It's so important to you as a woman, to your daughters, to the women coming up, that we are maintaining these independent businesses. We've got to do this. It's hugely vital. That's why I continue to work
Yeah.
and preach that gospel.
Awesome. Ladies, it was so wonderful being on stage with you today. Thank you so much for your continued success.
All right.